And welcome back. It is your favorite Jackson, the good Jackson, not the bad Jackson that you may potentially see on other channels like Dapper Dinosaur. Um, Today we're doing something a little bit different. So Nestlig is on vacation for the next, I think he said 5 weeks. So big sad. So we'll have to do the show without him. But I do have my host and co-host Peter of Gonna Go For It fame. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone,
Oh.
or good morning, or good night, wherever you
These
may be.
time-traveling heathens.
Yes, yes. We don't know where they are when they're watching. So,
Let's see. We got Nan, DM, Google Debunker, Wing,
yeah, misspelled.
Anonymous Pie.
Misspelled. Bunker is with two O's.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be Google Debunker, Wing. Anonymous Pie, Vandelli 1998. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Tasmania. Wow. That's crazy. Okay. That's pretty wild.
That's Devil Country.
That is Devil Country, true. It was beautiful Devil Country, though. So,
It is.
Oh, very pretty. And Hydroid, welcome. Okay. So no Nestling today or for the next few weeks, sadly. I have actually sent a message to the biologist, Dr. Romulo, who was on whose stream we watched. Or sorry, it wasn't his stream. He was on somebody else's stream. It was like a Catholic apologist. And Romulo was doing kind of the weird like intelligent design-y sort of arguments. Well, today, so we're just gonna keep going with that. I think Peter, you said we have like an hour of that left, so quite a bit.
Yeah.
However, a little while ago on the Twitters, I received a message. I got tagged in a post with several other people, and it sent a video. Some guy is reading my tweets and making a read. I think he read a tweet of mine, along with a bunch of other people, for clout on his YouTube channel. So I guess I'm at the level of popularity where people can make videos out of my tweets. So that's cool.
In all fairness, I mean, he's done a lot to gain some attention, hovering around Kent Hovind and Mr. Brad Keane and all the ongoing drama. But he's still at slightly over 400 followers, so I don't know what's up.
We all got to start somewhere. I was at 300 once upon a time.
But he's been around for a while, and
I've been around for a while too. I've been around for 8 years at this point. I've been around for a little bit.
Jackson, but if you cover certain people, then I know you know this, because then your subscriber count goes up drastically because you've got the name of a certain person. It happened to me. I mean, I got an interview with Kent Hovind, and I think I gained 500-600 followers or subscribers on YouTube in the weeks after that, just by having that name in the title. Yeah. Apparently, it doesn't work that way for him. I don't know why.
Well, I think we'll find out very shortly once we watch this video of his.
Yes.
I didn't watch his whole video. I mean, you guys know me. I like to give my off-the-cuff take. I did watch a different video of his because it caught my eye because the title is very dumb. Sorry, Peter, if I'd done this more than just like the last 30 minutes, I could have sent you some pictures or something to post, but it's okay.
No worries.
So this guy, this YouTuber, his name is Truth, the Objective Reality. I've never heard of him. He's on Twitter, I guess. Whatever.
He's got truth in the name. Truth in the name.
So he must be right, yeah.
What do we know about organizations and channels and the like that have truth in their name?
I wonder if they're usually not very truthful.
Yes. Not very concerned with the truth anyway.
Well, Peter, don't you worry. He stays true to form. So a video of his, which was published, this is 2 months ago, is titled "Congress Passes Bill Criminalizing Bible Under Guise of Anti-Semitism." Oh, and I guess I should start by saying, I saw that he was on Twitter, and I sent him a message. I said, DM me. I'd be happy to have you on the channel to talk to you. Because he is a younger creationist, because of course he is, and a Trumper and all that jazz. You know, he's the whole constellation of beliefs that you would expect him to hold. So I first opened up his Twitter, looked at that, sent him a message, said my DMs are open, and the very first thing that comes up when you open his page is a Stone Toss comic. He retweets a Stone Toss comic, which, for those of you who don't know, Stone Toss is a Nazi, or sorry, a member of the like modern version of the National Social Workers Party or whatever, which is not great. You've probably heard of things that they did, you know, in like the 1930s and 40s. So not a great group. So Stone Toss is like a Holocaust denier and all that sort of stuff. And this guy is retweeting. The very first thing you see him retweet is a Stone Toss comic. So that should already raise a little red flag. Well, this raises yet more red flags because, so this video, he talks about a bill that is currently, it has passed the House and it has entered the Senate, but it has not been voted on in the Senate yet. So this is called H.R. 6090, Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023. You probably heard of this. It's basically a bill like protecting people from acts of anti-Semitism, which is fine. Sounds fine to me. So he's complaining about this bill. He says Congress passes this bill criminalizing the Bible under the guise of anti-Semitism. Now, if you look up this bill, H.R. 6090, you can read through it. You can, Control F the word Bible. It does not appear in the document at all because it's not about the Bible. This is about adding protection of Jewish people to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So, because the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin, so this document would theoretically then add anti-Semitism to things protected by the Civil Rights Bill, which sounds fine to me. I don't have any problem with that. Okay. So you look through it, and the thing that he takes issue with is the definition of anti-Semitism. So this document kind of punts the definition to a group called the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, and this document would adopt the definition of anti-Semitism and put that into law. So if you go to the Holocaust Remembrance website and you see what their definition of anti-Semitism is, the definition is, quote, anti-Semitism is a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community, institutions, and religious facilities. It says the working definition of anti-Semitism. Okay, so hatred towards Jews is it. That's the takeaway. Okay, again. Okay. What's your point? And then on this on this page for the Remembrance website, the thing that he really takes issue with, the document, the actual law itself has nothing to do with the Bible. It's not in it at all. So you would probably be wondering, okay, how is this criminalizing the Bible? It just isn't. That's just not a thing that it's doing. And he recognizes this, and he says, so if you go to this other website, one of the things that it says is contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and in religious sphere could, taking into account the overall context, include, but are not limited to, and then it gives a list of examples like dehumanizing, demonizing, making stereotypical allegations, accusing Jews of being responsible for blah, 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 for various things. So one of them that it says is, quote, using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, e.g., claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel, to characterize Israel or Israelis. Now, that's the thing he really takes issue with, because he then says, well, in the Bible it says the Jews, turned over Jesus to Pontius Pilate, and that's what got him killed. Now, here's the funny thing about that. If you actually read the sentence says, using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, e.g., claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel, to characterize Israel or Israelis. Now, Peter, did in that sentence I say anything about banning the Bible?
No.
No.
I mean, isn't
crazy, isn't it?
The main character of the Bible, remind me, wasn't that a Jew?
It sure was. Now, if any of you are blissfully uninitiated, both of those, the blood libel thing and the Jews killing Jesus, those are both very old anti-Semitism tropes that go back literally to like the dawn of Christianity. Basically, what happened is in the Bible you have the Jews who turn Jesus, who like complain to Pontius Pilate, and then they have Jesus arrested, and then he gets crucified and all that jazz. So people would use that, which I don't know whether or not that even happened. Really, who cares? But they use that claim that the Jews turned Jesus over to say, therefore, that Jews are bad. Or in this case, it's saying Israelis are bad. Now, that's obviously anti-Semitism. That is obviously using a thing that may or may not have happened 2,000 years ago and saying, therefore, I don't like Jews as a group. Like, that's so obviously and plainly anti-Semitic. I don't know how to make it any clearer. I don't think you could make it clear. I don't think if you explain this to someone and they just don't get that, they're just stupid, which I think is what he is. I think he's just dumb. So I don't know how else to really describe that. I think he's just dumb. So yeah. So he's just stupid in this regard. He's just basically carrying water for the National German Socialist Party. So that's basically what's happening. And that belief, if you scroll on down to Wikipedia, so this belief, which is called Jewish deicide, so this is the notion that the Jews as a people are collectively responsible for the killing of Jesus, even through the successive generations following his death. This notion arose in early Christianity, the charge having been made by Justin Martyr and Melito of Sardis as early as the 2nd century. The accusation that the Jews were Christ killers fed Christian anti-Semitism and spurred on acts of violence against the Jews, such as pogroms, massacres of Jews during the Crusades, expulsions of the Jews from England, France, Spain, Portugal, and other places, and torture during the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisitions until they culminate in the Holocaust So it is just... It's just anti-Semitism. That's all it is. I don't know how else to say that. So that's very stupid.
I'd love to have a chat with this guy because you said he was a trumpet as well.
Yeah, he's a Trumper. Yep.
Yeah, so I would like to ask him what he thinks of the fact that Americans tried to kill Trump.
You should hate Americans. You know what?
Yeah.
I agree. Go ahead. Oh, also, Vandalia, 1998 for $4.99. So he's upset about having to be nice to the Jews in a religious concept or in a biological concept. Not that it matters either way. No, what he's saying is, he's saying that all Jews, as a people, as a population, are evil because of a thing that may or may not have happened 2,000 years ago. Imagine if I said, for instance, all white people are racist because Derek Chauvin, killed George Floyd. Imagine if I said that. Now, would that be stupid? Yes, that would be a stupid thing to say. But it's the same line of logic. That's... Oops.
Oh.
I disappeared. Oh, I'm back.
There we go.
Sorry, I had to vanish for a moment there. So yeah, so it's very dumb. It's very stupid. So yeah, we've probably been demonetized. That's okay. I just want to point this out that this guy is obviously like a moron. In addition to all the things that we're probably going to hear in this video. So, anything you want to add to that, Peter?
I mean, it's so insanely stupid. The whole thing where they're playing the victim. I mean, do they absolutely think that no one's going to check their claims? That's my first
Probably
issue. Because I don't know. You did it just a few seconds ago, I think.
I mean, Christians love to be persecuted. They love to claim that they're like the most persecuted group.
Yeah.
Then in like the world, I mean, in some parts of the world, sure, you probably shouldn't tell people that you're Christian. There are probably parts of the Middle East you probably shouldn't say it. Here in the U.S., however, they're the dominant religion by far. They make up the vast majority of the legislators in this country, and the president is a Christian. He's a Catholic. So, like, I don't really know how else to say that that's just moronic. Like, I don't know. It's very silly. They love to be persecuted. So, not all of them, of course. It's usually more like the evangelical Christians or the creationists. Like, they're usually the ones who say that sort of stupid stuff. So anyway,
The problem is that if you keep complaining about things that didn't happen, at some point people are not going to believe you anymore. It's
it's all right.
We're being persecuted. Oh yes, that's him again. Last time it wasn't the case, probably. What was
right,
it?
they're crying wolf.
Boy who cried wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Someone should read that story to them.
Yeah.
And why would you? So, on one hand, so this guy's a Trumper. So on one hand, he wants to be the strong one because he's aligning with the guy who's going to make everything great again, and then constantly whining because they're a victim. I mean, what?
Yeah, they like being the victim. You know what's funny, Peter? I would be willing to bet money that Trump himself is not a Christian. I'm willing to bet that Trump is our first non-Christian president. And
I'd bet anything I own on that.
Yeah, and like the so obvious, like not even knowing that, like the Second Corinthians things, thinking that it's 2 Corinthians, like you would.
In all fairness,
I've never had like religious schooling, but come on.
In all fairness, Jackson, we're talking, and I mean, Trump has said this many times that he loves the poorly educated. We're talking about a group of people who are now wearing bandages on their ear when they go to a rally. I mean...
Right. And Peter, these are the same people who won't wear masks for 15 minutes in a grocery store. So
yes,
it's moron.
Yes,
moronic.
But I mean, a mask on your ears different because you already have made your mind up that you don't want to listen to anyone. So then, basically blocking one ear, it's not a big deal.
I mean, true. That there's nothing useful going in there anyway. So. Okay, all right. Well, let's get into it. This video is only like 15 minutes, so
yeah, I have to one caveat. I cut the intro first of all because we probably would get some kind of a copyright strike because of the music, and because not a very good intro anyway. So anyway,
well, I appreciate that, Peter.
Okay.
Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army. An army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time.
Yeah.
I'm back from fireworks, as you can see. Gone for a month, did what I needed to do with fireworks. And it was brutal, mostly because of the weather. We had a 5-day stretch where it was over 100 degrees each day, and that was rough,
is he selling fireworks?
To say the least.
Is that what he means?
Back now,
I have no clue.
I figured the most appropriate way to get back on the saddle of content creation would be to respond to
Maybe he's the guy who lights the fireworks because he's the most dispensable. Sorry, I should do things like this. Sorry.
Oh, wait, Pibblepunk sent a super chat, but YouTube ate it. What? YouTube ate it.
What do you mean?
That's weird.
What do you mean?
He says he sent a super chat, but YouTube ate it. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it might not let you do it if it contains certain words.
Yes.
So I'd be careful with like whatever you're saying in there. Oh, Peter, can you make it one screen on my end, please?
Sadly, no. At the moment, the script we were using. Oh wait, yeah. I can do that while we're watching on your show. I can. Oh, that's cool. Okay. There we go.
Nice. Well, sorry, Pibblepunk. I don't. Or sorry, her. Sorry, I'm sorry. Her. Sorry. My bad. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's weird. Maybe there was a censored word in it, which is weird because if it's a censored word through the channel, it would be held for review, and then we could release the comment anyway.
I don't.
But I don't know how that works with super chats.
I also don't know. Sorry. Well,
weird. It is weird. I'd keep an eye out whether or not the money is being withdrawn, and then I would launch a complaint. Because taking your money and not showing the message, that's not decent.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out for it. Yeah, and if you see a charge, then make a complaint. Okay. All right. Let's get into it.
Various tweets made by atheist users on Twitter during fireworks season.
Yeah.
Now, I looked at each one of these tweets by itself and came to the conclusion that each one by itself was...
I'm sorry. I just get... that was a squirrel to me. So, Jackson, when is fireworks season? Because...
I mean, I guess it kind of... People usually start, like, shooting fireworks, like, a few days before the 4th of July, up to, like, a few after.
So, you call that a season?
Well,
one day?
What I think he's saying is... Well, no, it's a few days, but, like, what I think... It's kind of like a week, basically. Like a week where people shoot fireworks. But what I think he's saying is he's selling fireworks, and they usually do that for a few weeks leading up to the 4th, or like several weeks. So yeah,
it's still
basically June. Basically June is the season. Which, very funny side note, near where I used to live, there's a firehouse, for firefighters, and directly across the street from that firehouse was where a fireworks stand was set up. Now, funny enough, the firehouse actually closed down. But the fireworks stand remains. So
that's America
they
for you.
also sell Christmas trees in December, just November, December. So.
That's America for you. Fireworks across the street. Run!
That is the most American thing I can think of.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
We can keep going.
It's not enough to make its own video, but then I got the bright idea of saying, you know what? Maybe if I combine all of these tweets into one video and respond to each one, I got a video.
That's so bright.
We're here.
Okay.
So
I bet no one's ever thought of that.
Let's go ahead and get into the first tweet in question. This one, which you can see here on screen, written by a user who calls themselves Satan, but their user is S8N. They posted a meme of Tom and Jerry, and it says, "People, Hitler and Stalin killed the most people in history. Noah not letting anyone on the ark." So everyone, of course, who's an atheist shares this meme abroad. Just, it's the greatest thing ever. You really showed those Christians and creationists. So I had to point out the obvious. I made a response tweet that says...
Hold on. He's going to say that God did it, not Noah? No, he's not going to say that.
I mean, He's not. No, he can't say God did it.
No, he can't say that. He's not going to say that.
Except that Noah didn't prevent people from coming on the ark. Another atheist lie in order to suppress the truth about reality. Now, when you read Genesis 6, which is where they're appealing to, you don't see any kind of account where it says that Noah let people on the ark or gave them any kind of warning that the flood was coming and that they should get on the ark. But you also won't find passages in there that says that Noah wouldn't let anyone else on the ark. You read the
Wait,
New
hold on a
Testament,
second.
of course.
Wait. Hold on. I don't buy that line of reasoning at all. Obviously, if people, I mean, well, let's be real. First of all, the Noah's Ark story just never happened. This is just a fable, a myth. It's a myth.
It's as real as the cat in the meme.
Exactly. The story is meant to convey an idea about like the history of the ancestors of basically everyone, right? But really importantly, the Israelites. That's what the story is about. Now, obviously, it's not meant to be taken literally. Cough, cough. Ken Ham, Ken Hovind. But what he's saying is, people were given the option. They just weren't told that they had the option, which is like
not giving the option.
Then you're not giving them the option. Yeah. Like, if you don't tell them they have the option, then they don't have the option. And so what the meme now, also I'll say this: a lot of atheist memes are very dumb. Basically, every time someone says that Easter is like Ishtar or Easter's like the pagan festival or something, like, okay, fine, that's wrong. But like sometimes atheists post stupid stuff. No problem with that. But like what I think this one's trying to get across is the fact that God literally murdered everyone on the entire planet. That's the point of this meme.
Mm-hmm.
And it's saying like, yes, Hitler and Stalin killed lots of people. So did God. God killed millions of people.
Yes, but Jackson,
according to the Bible.
But Jackson, these were all depraved people. They were all doing things that weren't allowed, sinning, having sex and cursing and stuff like that. That's what they did, and so they don't count as people.
That's true. I mean, these people, the people who were killed by Stalin probably sinned too. So, they also don't count. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, just very dumb. And like, I don't even follow this Satan guy. Like, I've seen him around. I don't follow him. I really don't care to see his stuff in my feed. But I just think, okay, whatever. Anyway, all right, keep going.
And you find out that Noah was a preacher of righteousness, and that it turns out that everybody who was in the world at the time had a chance to get on the ark. It's just
they had a chance, they just weren't told.
Family were the ones willing to get on the ark.
Okay.
Now this one I came across on July.
And in all fairness, they lucked out because they didn't get to see Noah's balls. Only his sons did. The righteous, right. Righteous one, right? Very righteous.
I'm actually curious. Sorry, that was Genesis 2, not Genesis 1, wasn't it? Or no, it was just
Genesis 6.
Genesis 6. Okay. Genesis 6. Okay. I'm actually curious. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the... Okay, here we go. Genesis 6:5. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Noah and the flood. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among people of his time, walked faithfully with God. Okay, so then God instructs Noah to build the ark and says, I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark. I'm going to bring two of every creature. Noah did everything God commanded of him. Can I go to Genesis 7 now? Genesis 7. Lord said to Noah, get into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in the generation. Take with you. Noah did all these things. The Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old. Noah and his wife and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Now, whatever his name is, this guy, what the truth said here is Noah was a preacher. I don't see that in the Bible. I'm literally looking at what he's referring to. Genesis 6 and 7. I don't see anything about Noah preaching to the people. I don't see that. So I don't know where he's getting it.
I've read the story a couple of times. I don't think Noah was a preacher at all. He was just the righteous one.
Yeah, he was just a righteous bro. Yeah, that's all he was. This idea that he was going around telling people, hey, all you have to do is give up, your sinful life and you can join me. That didn't happen. That's not in the story. He's just lying.
You know what I find the funniest part of the story? What? Here's a God who knows everything that has happened, is happening, and is going to happen, and he regrets that when he knew that things were not going to work out, yet he still created the people that were not going to listen to him and that he was going to kill, and then at some point the time to kill has come, and then he had regretted that he has made them, because the man who doesn't make any mistakes made a mistake, and nothing in this story lines up. Literally nothing.
That's okay. It's all right.
I mean,
okay, we can keep going.
6 was actually pretty funny. The Phoenix Atheist said, the Gospels were written with Isaiah on the table next to them. The narrative was written to match the Isaiah text. Hardly impressive. So I said in response, bold assertion, where is the evidence for it?
Oh, wait,
Phoenix
pause.
Atheist actually...
Wait, Josh Bowen has responded to this. The idea that some evangelical Christians like to say that, or I guess just some like creationist groups like that, like to say that Isaiah was prophesying Jesus when it wasn't. You have to read that into the text from an anachronistic perspective. So like, and I mean, they're Christian. He's a creationist, so of course he's going to read a bunch of things that aren't in the text into the text, like Noah being a preacher. So wow, he's just reading a bunch of things that aren't in the text into the text. How funny is that? Oh well.
Yeah, Christians never do that, do they?
No, never. That doesn't happen. Like Peter, do you remember when we did? I can't remember what their group name was, but I did a video like with Inspiring Philosophy a long time ago, and we looked at this video by these guys who thought that like angels and demons rode dinosaurs and like had a big war with each other. Like it was bananas. It was crazy stuff.
Yeah, we used to have a guy called P-Town on Oran's Blasphemers Bible. He saw Jesus in almost every chapter of the Bible, and then we had to point out to him, that there's no Jesus in here. There's no way you can shoehorn him in here. But yeah, if you read something and you want to make it fit, I guess that's what they do, trying to shoehorn things into the Bible that aren't there.
He do like to do that.
Anyway, continue.
Yes. Quote tweeted my tweet and said in response, Luke inventing the census to get J-Boy from Nazareth to Bethlehem. Now this is pretty bad because what he's saying is that the purpose of the census that Luke wrote in Luke chapter 3 was to get Jesus from Nazareth to Bethlehem. Except that's not what the census does. You actually
hold on a second. Census that Luke... Wait. Hold on a second. I know this one. I have heard this one before. I wrote a thing about this. Give me 1 sec to find it. I wrote a whole thing about this because I read all about this one day because I was like, I want to know more about this.
Well, it's pretty easy. If the census hadn't been there, then Jesus would have been born in Nazareth, just in the home of Mary and Joseph.
Okay, so Herod So Herod the First, or Herod the Great, served as a Roman client king in Judea from 72 to 4 BC. In 6 AD, Julius Caesar converted that territory into the Roman province of Judea and assigned the legate, the governor, Publius Sulpicius, or Sulpicius, I don't know, Quirinius. So Quirinius is the governor to carry out a census that would record taxable property and its value. The reason for this was to install a new property tax on the citizens. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus' birth takes place during the reign of Herod I, whose reign ended in 4 BC. However, the Gospel of Luke records Jesus' birth as taking place immediately following the Quirinian census, which was Luke 2, 1 to 5. The census evidently demanded that citizens return to their city of origin, which was Bethlehem, Judea, for Joseph. The scholarly consensus is that Luke was wrong. Since Rome did not directly tax client kingdoms like Galilee, and there is no evidence of a single census of the entire Roman Empire. So Mary and Joseph lived in Galilee in 6 AD, which was under the rule of Tetrarch, not King, Herod Antipas. I have no idea if I probably incorrectly pronounced that. The territory, Galilee, is north of Judea and is separate from Judea, meaning that any census applied in Judea would not apply to Galilee. The Judea Quirinius census triggered a Jewish revolt in Judea, led by Judas of Galilee, also known as Judas of Gamala, because the tax would have made the Jews pay in what they considered heathen coins, and the census was contrary to Exodus 30:12, which says, "When you take a census of the Israelites to register them, at registration all of them shall give a ransom for their lives to the Lord, so that no plague may come upon them for being registered," close quote. So all religious attempts to harmonize Luke with Matthew either invoke censuses for which there is no evidence, or multiple governorships of Quirinius, for which there is no evidence. So this census did not occur. If a census did occur, it didn't occur as Luke describes, which because it makes no sense. It basically says you have to go to a country that's different from the one that you're living in, which is nonsensical. So, yeah. So it was obviously wrong. Anything you want to add to that, Peter?
Yeah, it's one of the things that first of all casts a doubt on when Jesus was born, because he couldn't be born before or after he was born. But there's no sign of any census having taken place at that time. So,
right. If it did happen, it wasn't like that, and more likely than not, it just didn't happen. So,
yeah, I mean, all the evidence points to it that there wasn't a census at that time, so it couldn't have happened. So I don't know who made up the story, because as far as I know, Luke didn't write it. Someone else did. So.
Right. We also have no idea who wrote Luke. The scholarly consensus is that the Gospels were not written by the people that they're ascribed to. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So anyway, okay. All right, we can keep going.
Luke has in Luke chapter 3. And what it does is it traces Jesus all the way back to Adam through the line of David. It doesn't even try to get Jesus.
Which has nothing to do with where he gets born. Just pointing this out. I mean, it's just stupid.
From Nazareth to Bethlehem. This is as basic as it gets in regards to Bible knowledge about the Gospel of Luke. And Phoenix Atheist can't even get this one right.
Nor can you.
And of course, there are the atheists who don't understand how social media algorithms work. Mr. Sean McClure, in particular.
Oh, I don't know this part I heard. Listen very closely to the things, the people he names, and then how he responds to that.
Said, my feed is filled with MAGA, Christo-fascists, Nazis, Christian nationalists,
that is true,
sympathizers, election deniers, anti-vaxxers, wannabe autocrats, conspiracy theorists, and delusional billionaires, yet I follow and interact with none of those. The F is up with this platform. So I pointed out
actually pause for a moment.
Tweets.
Okay, I agree with that. I also follow none of those accounts. I'm not someone who follows a bunch of accounts because I want to argue with them. I don't do that. I see them regardless. So like Wendell, for instance, I see his stuff only because other people other people I do follow either respond to him, or I'll see like anti-vaxxers or the like mega whoever, and I'm like, I don't follow these people. In fact, I usually just block them. And somehow I still end up with their like feed in my in my or with their tweets in my feed, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you say?
On Twitter I use lists, and the people I want to see in my feed are in one list. So I don't get any commercials or advertising or whatever. It's really, really helpful, and you don't get all this crap in your tweet. But pay close attention to what he's about to say right now.
We are the people you like to attack in your posts. Naturally.
So he's all of the above, as he just
Wikipedia
admitted.
is not working. Wikipedia is down.
Wikipedia is down?
Wikipedia is down. Try it. Wikipedia is down.
Must be the leftist.
Probably. It says original exception. That's weird. Exception caught inside exception handler. Media wiki internal error. Wikipedia down. Wikipedia down. Oh, so it looks like it. This is live status and problems in past 24 hours. Weird.
Okay, it's not down for me.
Oh, okay. It says basically it got 32 reports starting like an hour ago. Huh. Okay. Weird. Okay. Well, I'll look it up later. Anyway, all right, we can keep going. Sorry. Okay, I want to hear what his response to this is.
Naturally, Twitter's algorithms figured you'd want new reasons to attack us, and it gives you what you want.
That's very dumb.
This tweet by Lilith Atheist I thought was actually pretty funny because this is a classical case of psychological projection. So you can see the meme on the screen. It has in one column, old atheists, and it's someone telling the other person, stay quiet, and they're holding a Bible in their hand. Then you got the other column that says new atheists, and it's the same thing, person with Bible in hand pointing at the other saying stay quiet, but the other person this time says no.
Okay,
now,
pause.
I find this to be incredibly...
Now, I do think it's very funny that he thinks this is projection because this is what happens. Like, if you were an atheist for most of, like, human history, you would have been murdered. And... And so the idea, in fact, in many places today, you can still get murdered. Like, well, I mean, if you and the Christian go to the Middle East, they're probably going to be a little bit more lenient towards the Christian. But the atheist, I wouldn't recommend saying you're an atheist in the Middle East. That's just me.
Nope.
Or another. So like, I think that's very silly. You basically have to be a Christian to like get elected, or at least hold any sort of high public office. It's just very dumb.
Yeah, and then the third picture is missing, which is the stick figure with the Bible in his hand, saying, "Stop persecuting me."
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, basically. I mean, we just had a bill passed in Louisiana, which was obviously unconstitutional, and they knew that when they passed it, where the 10 Commandments were put in every classroom from K through 12. And you want to say the atheists are the ones projecting in this case? Like, come on, this is so silly. Okay.
Hilarious because it's actually the other way around when you
observe
how atheists behave on the internet, and you observe how Christians and creationists behave on the internet as well. You see,
wait a minute, pause. Wait a second. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it not the Discovery Institute, which is a creationist organization, that published the Wedge document, which wants to institute a theocracy?
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird. Wait, so it wasn't an atheist group that wants to institute like state atheism? Like, oh, that's so weird, man. It's almost like this is actually coming from the like the religious side. Maybe not the religious side, but like the religious extremist side, I should say. Like that's what's actually happening. Like that's
yeah, and it's not just a Wedge document. Project 2025 for people who haven't heard of it.
Project 2025 also wants a like theocratic state. So yeah. Because, and guess what? The Discovery Institute is one of the members on the board of Project 2025. Like, wow, it's kind of like, that we're in like the final season of the show because all the storylines are coming together. Like all the villains are working together, and all the heroes are like, working together, and they're coming together for their final fight, and it's really a scary time to be alive right now. It really is. So
it is.
So anyway, yeah, I just think this is very funny. Like Lilith posts funny stuff sometimes, but a lot of times I'll see her post and I'll just be like, okay, and I'll just kind of roll my eyes and keep going. Again, I don't follow her either. I usually only see her stuff through like other people responding to it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't follow her. I really don't care.
And in all fairness,
I don't follow a lot of atheist content in general.
In all fairness, this is a fake Lilith, because everyone knows that the real Lilith is my co-host. And so that's the only real Lilith.
True. Yeah.
Anyway.
Evolutionists spewing the atheistic evolutionary deep time propaganda just like it's fact. They don't even try and prove.
Where does he get the evolutionary deep time propaganda from that meme?
Well, I think he's just saying like it's just like it's our fault that it's atheists are the ones forcing this stuff on everyone, just like they're forcing their atheist evolution stuff on everyone.
Trying to educate people using facts. Yeah, I'll take that.
They do not want that. Nope, they don't want it. Sorry, can't have it.
It's truthfulness, and then when creationists like myself come along and we dissent from that, saying, no, we don't believe this is true. As a matter of fact, here's some evidence that proves that it can't be.
You actually don't have any. You do not have any evidence.
Evidence that proves that an alternative.
You know what?
Explanation.
Here, pause. You know what, guy, whatever your name is, come on my channel. Come on. Yeah. Come on and talk to me. Let's go over this evidence together. Let's do it live on stream. I'm happy to have you on. I don't know if you'll watch this. Probably not. But I'm happy to have you on.
I tagged him in the tweet about the show, so he is aware that we're doing this show, and yeah, he's invited.
Come on and talk to me. I'd love to talk to you about evolution. I would love to show you how little you know about this topic. I guarantee. I have never met a creationist to date who knows anything about evolution. Not one. So you might be the first, although I highly doubt it. Happy to have you on. Let's come on and talk about it. Let's go. Okay, all right. Let's keep on going.
Of origins, young Earth creationism is true. And what do they say in response, basically? Well, they basically tell us that we're stupid and we're ignorant and that we don't know anything about anything and that we should go back to...
It's usually kind of true. Not going to lie. It's usually kind of true.
In all fairness, I just did a show with a guy who worked at Dinosaur Adventureland. With the moment when I met him on I don't even know where exactly it was. He was still a young Earth creationist. I've never called him stupid.
Okay.
I
don't think I usually call these people stupid either.
I'm frequently on someone's channel who's not just a young Earth creationist, but also a flat earther. Never called her stupid either. I try to educate them, but I don't go around calling people stupid because that's not productive.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
If you want to educate someone and you start out calling them stupid, then you're basically done. There's no way that you're going to have any interaction with them afterwards. If you offer to have a conversation, they refuse, and their reason is that they don't want to hear about this, that is stupid. If you don't want to learn, then you're stupid. But you have to get to that point first.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Cool, and learn about evolution from some university somewhere. At one point, they were telling us to do our own research, but then in recent years, they started telling us not to do our own research because we're just too stupid to do our own research.
You are too stupid to do your own research. I'm sorry, Peter, I did it. The point of that is the point of that statement, which I think. First of all, I think saying that is always bad. I think if you're in an argument with someone and they tell you to do your own research, then they have failed on their side. They may not be wrong necessarily, but they are failing in their side of the argument. Because by saying, do your own research, you are telling the other person, I don't know enough about this subject to tell you my opinion of it, which means why are you having the argument? You should be able, or like telling someone, go read a book. Another one that's like, can't you summarize the book? Can't you tell me what's in it? Like, I've had so many creationists do that to me. They'll say like, oh, read Darwin's Doubt. I have. What do you want to talk about it? Well, just read the book. I have. What would you like to talk about specifically? You just need to read it. Like, I have read it. I don't know. What do you want me to? What do you want me to say? Or they'll say like, oh, you need to read this book. Well, why? And I say like, oh, well, okay. Well, can you tell me what specifically is your argument from this book? You just have to read it. Like, if you do that, again, you're just showing that you don't know what the argument is. And I've seen people on both sides of the aisle do this. It's not just a creationist thing. I've seen atheists and evolutionists and whoever else say, well, you just need to go read whatever book and then you'll understand. Like, I don't agree with doing that. You need to tell them what exactly your argument is. Don't just deflect to, well, just go read the book. Like, don't do that. Come on, engage with the argument that's being presented to you.
If anything, at least explain to them how they should conduct their research. That's another good thing. If you, I mean, I'm not entirely qualified to talk about evolution. I know a lot of things by being friends with you and having followed you for years. I've learned a lot about evolution, but I'm still not qualified. But I can tell someone, okay, if you want to learn more, then here's where you start.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Don't talk about some university. You can actually go to some university websites and learn a lot from the things that they have available online already, which starts out with the definition of evolution for one. And then you've got I think it's Berkeley University, who has a small course on evolution that's free for everyone that you can just go and visit. And don't stop there, but try to check whether or not the claims on that website are valid, and check those by going over scientific papers if they're mentioned. And if you then still have a problem with evolution, then at least you can speak up. But,
right. So the issue, and I derailed myself. The issue with saying do your own research is, one, it conveys that you don't really have a good understanding of your own side. But also, I agree with Peter to say, if you want to say, if you want more information, you can go read this thing, but don't make that the central point of your argument.
Yes.
Now, when people said that, what they were hoping, I think, was you would go do the research and you would realize that the evolutionists were right, that evolution is true. But what ended up happening is basically echo chambers formed, in which you have people like Alex Jones, and you have like Fox News, and all sorts of terrible groups that lie to people. And these groups would mislead people. So they would post like lies, just outright lies, or they'd post like implications of certain things, but they would say it's actually different than what it is, and all that sort of stuff. Or they twist whatever narrative it is. And so doing my own research turned into like, I'm just going to go to whatever site agrees with me and read that, because they're not interested in doing research. They don't want to do research. They want to look for what sources agree with them. So if you type in like, I don't know, like, was Trump good for the economy? And you see like a bunch of like links that are like, well, Trump was mediocre. He was fine for the economy until COVID happened. And, you can find that. And so it's like, okay, well, you can say Trump was fine. It was okay until COVID. But it's like, you don't want any of that, because you don't want anyone to say that Trump did anything wrong. It was perfect. Everything he did was fine. It was perfect until COVID happened. That's not his fault. We can't blame Trump for anything that happened during COVID. Like, no, they're going to skip all those sites. They're going to go straight down to the site that says Trump did everything perfectly, not that, he didn't do particularly well, or that like the 2017 tax cut, like balloon the budget deficit. Oh, $2 from Google Debunking. I don't know. I don't remember what kind of dog that is, but it's like the meme dog. So thank you. And then Pibblepunk for $2. Their idea of research is joining a Facebook group. Yes, it was true. Yep. It doesn't let me like DM's one. Weird.
No, that's probably because it's a super sticker.
It's a sticker.
In order to like something, you have to have text. I think. Not entirely sure, but.
Okay. Well, I mean, like if you say, for instance, no, Nan, you're right, because the 2017 tax cut bill, like I said, it ballooned the deficit. It grew the deficit by like 77%. But if you say that, like, okay, it may have benefited the top 1%, but it grew the deficit because he didn't decrease spending while decreasing taxes. Well, they're just going to say, well, it doesn't matter. Like everything he does is perfect. Like, so they're going to skip all those sources that say he did like meh, and they're going to go to the one that says he did perfect. Or if you look at like anti-vax stuff, if you type in like do vaccines work, you'll get like pages and pages and pages of like scientific studies. You'll get Wikipedia. You'll get all sorts of like introductory papers on like, how do we know vaccines work? How do vaccines work? They're going to skip all those and go to the one that says vaccines don't work. And then they'll say, aha, this is the one. Like this proves that vaccines don't work. It's like, come on. You're not really doing research. You're just you're diving or you're digging, for just for confirmation is all you're doing. So it's not really research. Which
is why I always advise people to use Google Scholar instead when they're doing any searches if you want to learn. And can I tell us a tiny anecdote, Jackson?
Go ahead.
Because there's one exception when it comes to a creationist where I would advise anyone to just go and look at his links. A few days ago, I was invited to be interviewed on the Kentucky Atheist, and what would you know, Jackson? Our favorite Brazilian Muppet frog turned up in the chat and made it all about him again, as he usually does. So I told Joe, I said, if you're fine with it, shoot him the link and let him come on. Because Otangelo Grasso is a very good source of actual science about evolution. His Cats blog links several scientific papers, and if you actually read them, you will come to the conclusion that they go against everything Otangelo Grasso ever says, has said, or will say in the future. So, yeah, if you encounter him, and he doesn't do it as often anymore, because I keep telling people that they should go and visit his blog while they're talking to him, preferably in a live show, and go over the links that he posts there, because it's hilarious. Yeah, that's one exception. He has a fine collection of scientific papers, by the way. Even about his favorite topic, abiogenesis, which
because he just copies like Wikipedia pages and stuff. Like that's all he does, and they argue against him.
Well, he reads titles of papers, titles of articles about papers. You know, the kind of thing like if someone were to write a book and give it the title "A Universe from Nothing," so people would think that the universe came into existence from nothing, stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, if you then start reading what it actually says, yeah, then things turn out quite differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to have a good time, Otangelo doesn't want to talk to me anymore because I asked him when he started believing in a God, and he said, well, 40 years ago, something happened to me, and I know what happened. And that's when he went to an evangelical church, and that's when he got answers, and that's where he accepted the God of the Bible. And I said, what were you before that? And he said, Catholic. And I said, so did you lie when you said you started believing in God 40 years ago, or did you start believing in a God before you were Catholic? And apparently that was enough to never talk to me anymore. I really hope this time he will actually follow through with that, because he said that to me so many times and he still talks to me.
He can't get enough of you, Peter. I mean, we never can.
I mean, it's not just me. He will do the same with pretty much everyone. I'm pretty sure that over the course of time, he's told you that he would never talk to you again because you said something.
I don't think he ever
correct.
did. I muted him or blocked him. I don't remember, on Twitter. I think I muted him because he like for several weeks he just responded to every post, and I was at the time where I was like arguing with everything he posted. Then I was like, all right, let's do a debate. Let's just go on and do a debate. And it was the most milquetoast debate I've ever done. He just like agreed with everything I said. It was so weird. He I used a meme that or not a meme, that's the wrong word. I mean, I used an image, I guess you would say. I used an image that Erica made. And it's the one with like all the skulls, all the hominin skulls. Mm-hmm. And I used that in the transitional fossils, and I was like, okay, look, where's the break? Right? Like where's the break? And he goes, I don't know. I'd have to ask like Gutsit Gibbon to look at this and get her thoughts. I was like, she made this image, so she agrees with it. And he was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I agree with that. It's like, what the heck are we talking about? Like,
yeah.
What was the point of this debate? He just agreed to everything I said. I don't remember most of it now, but I remember that. That was so weird to me.
In all fairness, I don't watch a certain debate channel anymore, but Otangelo's
I don't know whose channel it was on then.
Otangelo's best debate is on that particular channel that I don't want. Yes. He was there. It was a 2-on-2. And
where he was like a potted plant. Yeah.
Yes, that was RJ's comment. Otangelo is pretending to be a potted plant. I thought that was the best comment on the internet. He didn't say a thing. Nothing.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. Okay, anyway, we're going to get through this video, I swear.
Yes.
Search. The bottom line message is stay quiet, creationists. Stay quiet, Christians. Don't you dare dissent from Darwinian evolution. Don't you dare dissent from billions of years and evolution. That's basically all just one big form of stay quiet to the Christians and the creationists.
No.
So the reality is
most
actually
Christians
the other way around.
accept that the earth is old.
It's atheists that are trying to silence people who dissent from their world.
In all fairness, don't stay quiet. We want to know who you are. So maybe we can get through to you and educate you and show you the facts so you might accept the facts. I don't want creationists to be quiet. I've never told a creationist to be quiet. Not ever. And I don't know of any atheist who has.
I do think it's funny. His narrative is like, if you're a Christian, you must be a creationist, which I hate to break it to you, truth guy. You're outnumbered by the Christians who accept evolution.
Yeah, but those aren't real Christians, Jackson. Those aren't the real Christians.
Oh, that's true. How could I forget? My bad. Yeah. My mistake.
I'm still waiting for some kind of rule book that I can figure out who's a real Christian. Because I keep getting
very useful.
I keep getting told by people this particular person isn't a real Christian, and then I ask that particular person, and he says, "Well, he's not a Christian." So I'm lost. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult. It's very complicated out there.
Yes.
View against people like me, Christians and creationists, who are standing up and saying no. And simply dissenting from these guys, if you've been watching my channel for years, simply dissenting from these guys is enough to send them into a foaming frenzy. You don't even have to present hard evidence to get him to that state. You just have to
because you
disagree.
won't.
And
You won't
speaking
ever.
of that,
They don't
Oh,
have.
here we go. It's me time.
They don't have hard evidence. Yeah, now it's you.
They don't have it.
Now it's about you.
thread, we have another atheist user on the internet named Jackson
Another
Wheat,
atheist
who
user.
said, "Trust the science is shorthand for provisionally accept the consensus of experts. You're not doing experiments because you're just a hack on Twitter." And he was saying this in response to...
I agree with everything that guy said. I don't know who he is, but I agree with him, and he's handsome. And I want the record to stand on that. Whoever this Jackson Wheat guy is, he's handsome.
He's pretty cool.
And he seems cool. We should invite him on.
Yes.
I like this guy. I think he's got some spunk, you know?
Not just that. I think he should have his own channel.
I think he should. I agree.
Yeah. I'd make him artwork for free.
That's so kind of you. I wonder if he has any like views on evolution or something like that.
He must have.
All right.
In all fairness,
so I do.
In all fairness, can I point out that I don't know why, but this is the first time I heard someone say provisionally accept the consensus, which I think is actually brilliant, and I wish I had thought of that, because most people will say accept, and that's not what you should do. Provisionally accept the consensus, because the consensus might change, and then you need to accept a different consensus. So yeah, there's a tiny thing, but it stood out to me.
Yeah, so this tweet did really well for me. I usually don't get more than like 20 or so likes on a tweet. This one got almost 1,000, I think. It was a lot for me, I should say. Anyway, so this tweet, I was responding to some dude who's like another mega idiot, who posted a meme that said something like, "Trust the scientists." Well, that's the exact opposite of how you do science. And I'm sorry I gave him a Southern accent when I also have a Southern accent. I apologize. I can't help but demonize my own people. So first of all, I think this meme is in bad faith, because typically what happens in society in general, I think, is, at least this is what happens for me. If I hear a piece of information that is relevant to a field that I am knowledgeable in, then I will test that against what I know about that field, or I'll do research on it. So if it sounds right, I might provisionally accept that that's true. Or if it sounds weird, I might look it up. Or I might just look it up anyway. I might just say, that's interesting. I kind of want to know more about that. And then look it up, and it may or may not be true. So when people say trust the science or whatever, or trust the historians or what have you, what they're saying is, in areas where you are not an expert, it is best generally to provisionally defer to what the consensus of experts is. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with saying that. If I'm not a historian, so I'm going to defer to what the consensus of historians is. If I know any historians, I'm going to say, hey, can you tell me about this thing? Or what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is true? Or if there's something about physics, I'm going to defer to a physicist, or whatever, a linguist, or what have you, right? And that's kind of all I was saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, now what it means is, what happens is, that guy, that idiot mega dude I was responding to, this is dog whistly. It is. What he's basically saying is, he's taking this idea that he's saying, oh, well, they're telling you to trust people. Well, you shouldn't trust anyone. You should be skeptical of everything. Which, like, in a general sense, sure, that's fine. But it's impossible. It's literally impossible to live your daily life where you are skeptical of everything. You can't be skeptical of your car, like, before you get in it. So you have to check every single piece of your car to make sure that it's going to function when you turn it on, right? Or that you're not going to go into a restaurant and be like, I actually need to look at all the counters and everything, and make sure that your food comes from a place that it's like raised humanely, and it's not going to be have like bacteria on or whatever. There's no way for you to do that. Like, your life would be impossible to live if you did that.
Jackson, that
So,
is easy
on average,
for you. That's easy for you to say. I debated a presuppositional apologist. That was the first debate well, it wasn't a debate, it was a conversation. The first conversation in real time I had with a Christian on a Christian radio show. And this went on for 2 hours, and the topic was, can an atheist sit down on a couch?
I do remember you said that, yes.
So, yeah, those were the 2 longest hours of my life.
Okay, I think we have someone who's not understanding me in the side chat. When I say creationist, I am referring specifically to young Earth creationists, unless I specify otherwise. Creationist is often just shorthand for young Earth creationists, and that's how I'm using it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks. Oh, Pibblepunk, perfect, exactly right. Properly applied skepticism includes accepting things that are evidently true. That is very true. Perfect.
See, Jackson,
general,
now I have to criticize you. You completely skipped Vesta Freya's comment.
Oh, that Jackson Wheat is handsome and probably good at sex. Is that my fiance running that account? Because I'm willing to bet. No. She's playing the long con. No. But you're right, Vesta. I'm sure he is. I'm sure that Jackson Wheat character is. So like you can't live your life on a day-to-day basis showing like absolute skepticism of everything. It just doesn't work. At some point, you just have to trust other people. If you want to know about what's happening in another country, you can't always just go over there. Sometimes you just have to see what the news says about it. Right? And the news may be wrong at first, and maybe later stories will come out to fix that. But that's why I said provisionally accept. So trust the experts or trust the scientists means provisionally, like you can apply a degree of skepticism. You can say, okay, well, I'm 80% confident in what the researchers are saying about this. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can do that. But what often happens is what these guys will say is don't trust the scientist. Is they're trying to use skepticism in like an absolute skeptical sense, but they're not actually being skeptical. They're saying deny vaccines and deny evolution and deny that Trump tried to steal the election. Like you can deny those things, but selectively deny facts. And if, of course, it's things that are true. Like Trump did try to steal the election. Evolution is true. The Earth is old. Vaccines do work. So it's very silly. It's very just dog whistly. I'm sorry, I talked long enough on this.
And in all fairness, scientists mostly have it right. So in Europe, we don't have a Cybertruck, so we didn't need all these people trying out with their finger what happens if you close the frunk or trunk on the front or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I like Smitty's comment. No. True skepticism is adopting an anti-authority bias and always assuming the opposite conclusion of what experts say. Very true, Smitty. Very true.
Yeah.
There are at least 2 people here in Shreveport who have those stupid Cybertrucks, and oh my god, they're the ugliest truck I've ever seen. Ugliest car I've ever seen. One of them is painted like cotton candy colors. So that was kind of fun. Anyway.
You have to because if you don't paint it, it's going to rust, which I think is brilliant. You can't leave it in the rain, and you can't leave insects on it or dog poop because it's going to ruin your car.
Peter, don't you know, like when you need to use the Cybertruck as a like an after society has collapsed vehicle, and you accidentally run into your first bug, and then like your water hose doesn't work anymore, so you can't wash your car off.
I mean,
so it just rusts.
It's the classic example of trusting the scientists, because I mean I'm old, but most people will have seen Back to the Future. We had a car made out of stainless steel. We know what happens. Just making another car out of stainless steel. Yeah, we know what's going to happen because we've been there, done that. Doesn't work. Anyway.
Yeah.
The Twitter user Wall Street Silver. So I responded to Jackson Wheat by saying, translation, just believe whatever the majority opinion of the scientific and academic community is, because you're too stupid to do your own research or think for yourself.
Okay, but pause.
Now, the reason why...
But that's the opposite of what I said. That's literally word for word the opposite of what I said. I said provisionally accept it. Provisionally accept the consensus of researchers in field where you are not an expert. You can do that. There's literally nothing wrong with doing that. And what he's saying is, when he says just believe whatever the majority opinion is, that is the exact opposite of what I said. I said provisionally accept. He's saying, well, just believe it. I'm not asking you to just believe it. I'm saying put in your mind, this could be wrong. But the evidence has indicated it so far. And unless you're going to go and look at it, and this guy's a younger creationist, so no, he's not going to do research on it. Unless you're an expert in a particular field, and I've already said this earlier, I don't need to say it all again.
That it's also projecting, because what happens when you go to church? You need to believe what the expert in front of you says. You have to accept what he's saying without questioning. Otherwise, you'll be out of the church in no time. So
I can say that this is what he really means with confidence, is because popular legacy media outlets like the New York Times have actually put out articles in the past few years saying exactly that. I think Forbes was the other one as well. And I've made videos about it in the past, and I'll find those videos and put links to them in the description box below. But basically, the idea here is that if you just believe what you're told, whether it's by the scientific and academic community or whatever Wikipedia says, if you just believe what you're told, then you're a super genius and you're just so intelligent.
Okay.
That's literally what they tell you when you go to a church. You need to believe what you're told, and then you're a genius.
So wait, so you can't trust the news and you can't trust academia. So you're going to just trust random people on the street? That is your response? I'm just going to trust some random dude who I don't know and who has no experience in anything or background or any of that. Okay, fine. Go live your life that way. I do not care. But you're a moron. Whatever.
Yeah, this is
right.
This
who makes
is
enough
stupid.
Money to read Forbes? Yeah, exactly. I don't read Forbes. I don't read New York Times, New York Post. I don't read I don't read CNN. I don't look at Fox. I don't look at any of them really, because I don't really care all that much.
In all fairness, though, if you want to learn about science, why would you go to a newspaper?
Right.
It's just me who thinks that that's incredibly stupid.
No, I agree. It's weird. I wouldn't recommend it. Obviously you're getting a version that is made more accessible, but a lot of times they can get stuff wrong or misunderstand or misconstrue what's happening. So it's just better to read the original paper. But of course that can be difficult because it has a lot of technical jargon in it, which may not be accessible to your average person. So it is what it is. It's a means of entry into understanding some kind of thing, but that shouldn't be your only source for learning about it. You should do more research.
Jackson, do you know what happens if you go to newspapers for your science?
What?
Decades later, people still remind you of Piltdown Man.
True. Oh, also, Pibblepunk says for $2, yes, the peer-reviewed scientific journal, Forbes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't subscribe to literally any journals or magazines or anything like that. I just don't. I don't do subscription stuff. So if you have to pay a subscription to read something, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to read it somewhere else, or I'm going to hear about it somewhere else. I'm sure anyone I said who I listen to or read, he would just say, well, that's the liberal media, which if the factual media is the liberal media, okay, whatever. I don't care. Whatever.
Jackson, there are exceptions, though.
Oh, are they?
Yes, because sometimes you just have to subscribe, and especially when it's free, like a YouTube channel. So hit the button.
True, exactly. You're so much better at advertising me than I am, Peter.
I'm good at advertising everyone else, but but my own channel. It's what I do, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to hear a bit more?
Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah.
But if you think for yourself and you dissent from what you're being told and you have evidence that what you're being told is false,
He doesn't.
pretty airtight, and you have evidence that proves that your alternative beliefs that you have are actually real, well then you're just the biggest, most colossal moron on the planet Earth. And
he doesn't have that
science.
He has no evidence, no facts.
These kind of leftist atheists. And that's something
he
you'll notice.
I didn't say anything about a leftist in that tweet. I just say provisionally trusting experts in fields outside of your own is okay. Like, I think
Jackson, you misunderstand.
It's very funny because what I think is funny about this is I'm responding to a guy who says be 100% absolutely skeptical of everything, which I think is stupid and impossible. And my response to that was, actually, it's okay to trust experts on things where you're not an expert. And his response to that is like, no, if you trust anyone ever, anytime at all, then you're just a dumb leftist. Like, what are we even talking about here? What are we even talking about? I don't even know.
Jackson, if you're not a creationist, you have to be a leftist. Those things go together, and you're also a liberal for some reason.
Well, I am a liberal, but beside the point, yeah. So I mean, like, you got me there, but I didn't say that in that tweet, and it's very weird. I don't know. It's like I said, this is very dog whistly. This is not like. I think if I just said, is it okay to like provisionally accept things that experts tell you if you're not an expert in that field, I can almost guarantee he would say yes. He'd be like, yeah, it's probably fine until you know more, which I'd be like, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, I agree with that. I have no problem with that. So
he's berating you because you stood up and said something about the guy that said the things that he thinks you said in your tweet. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. As if he didn't read it or didn't understand it, or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I think there's like ulterior motive going on here, which is why he's intentionally trying to misunderstand what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So, with atheists is that a lot of times atheists are also woke lefties. Especially some of the people like Vice Rhino that I've had back and forths with in the past.
Lefties.
That people like him have totally just dived head first right into the woke agendas. So they got the trans flags in their usernames.
Okay.
They got all of the LGBTQ stuff going on.
I'm bisexual, so I am the LGBT.
The woke ones.
I live with two bisexual women.
Overlap between the two. But anyway,
pause for a moment.
I have for
So. Okay, like, I just want to point out, I am bisexual. Hi, everybody. In case you didn't know that, I think I've said that on stream before, probably. If not, I am. I don't care. I have dated trans people before. I've been with guys and girls. It doesn't matter to me. I do not care. So, like, whatever. So, like, as a person who has, who has like fraternized with all the genders, I don't know. Like, I'm, I'd rather not be like targeted by like Project 2025 and theocratic fascists and people like that. I just would rather that not happen. Mm-hmm. Nor would I rather that happen to people I know who are also part of the alphabet mafia. We don't want that to happen. We prefer if that didn't happen. So, but do I have Riz? Almost certainly not. I don't know. I don't know what that is, and I probably don't have whatever it is. Sorry, Alex Markle.
And also, what does this have to do with anything other than you just trying to be a bigot, trying to be non-inclusive, trying to be hateful? How?
Well, of course he hates LGBT people. Of course he does. He's a creationist.
Yes. I mean, my first thought is people who are so vehemently anti-LGBTQ they're probably closet one of those letters. Just saying.
Yeah, they usually are. That or they're very close to children in a way they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Smitty says I got Riz from a toilet seat. I don't know why. It just really made me laugh. Alex Markle says you have a fiance, so the answer is almost certainly yes. Well, I'll have to ask her, but she'll probably say no also. Anyway. Okay, we can keep going.
This video, I've responded to a series of
different that's it? Okay, never mind then.
As you can see.
Hold on.
And I think before we get out of here, there are two things I like to bring to your attention. The first one is, of course, dealing with the issue of YouTube censorship. YouTube censorship has been a thing for at least the last 9 years, possibly longer. And so the best thing about the last 7 years is that a lot of alternatives to YouTube have sprang up.
Oh,
like what, Vimeo?
Here's
Dailymotion? What do you mean?
Here's something that I want to say about this YouTube censorship. We don't know what your name is, so I will call you a stuttering Tor with 2 T's. Listen, when you sign up for YouTube, there's this thing that you scroll down very, very, very fast and then click OK to. Those are the terms of service. I don't know how to explain this to you. So it's like in your house, there are rules. And you get to make your own rules. And if people break them, you can kick them out of your house. So this is what YouTube does. It has rules. And if you break them, they're going to kick you out. And they can make their own rules, whether or not you agree with them or not. There are rules on YouTube that I don't agree with. But, I mean, hey, it's still the best platform for me. So I agree to those rules, and I abide by those rules. That's it. That's all you need to do. There's no censoring. Censoring isn't a thing. They're just rules. We want to platform this, and we don't want to platform that. That's their choice. They're offering you a free service where thousands upon thousands and maybe even millions of people could see your video for free. Don't like it? Create your own platform. See how well you do.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Oh, okay. The video audio is low. Oh, is it? Okay. I haven't had any problems hearing it. People. Well, what we meant was that a lot of times it happens that, not always, of course, but a lot of times it does come out that some person who is homophobic turns out to be like we're pretending to not be homophobic, for instance, which that does happen. I mean, we've all seen that, and it's truly terrible. We live in a country where you can be proudly gay, so like I don't. It's very sad to me that anyone would do that. So yeah, that was all. That's all we meant. Yeah, no, I don't think he's he's just saying he's being censored. He just wants to say things that are truly terrible. I'm sure he would say far worse things if he could.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you. I haven't watched this part, but I'll tell you what he's leading up to, and that is probably the. So there are links in the description of this video. Want to guess what most links are about? How you can pay him money. Because he's streaming on a free platform. If I look at his intros, the music's just stolen. So apparently he does need money for. I don't know what he needs money for, because.
Peter, I don't know if you saw the whole thing, like the blow up or whatever between like Musk and Mr. Beast, where Musk was asking Mr. Beast, who's a very popular YouTube channel for anyone who's not aware, to like put his videos not on YouTube, but on to release them on X, on Twitter. And Mr. Beast said, no, actually, because I would lose a lot of money in doing so.
Yes.
And so there was a whole back and forth where Musk had to change the way the algorithm puts out ads or whatever, so that Mr. Beast would get more traction to the whatever stuff he puts out on Twitter, which I think is very funny. I've never seen a Mr. Beast video. I don't know what content he produces, but I just thought it was very funny that he told Musk, no, I won't put my video on I won't release it here because you would not bring me enough money. So I thought that was very funny. Because he's also had blow-ups with other people like Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi, during the whole Twitter files thing, which was nothing, it turned into nothing, which I thought was very funny. Matt Taibbi has I think it's a Substack, and Musk was like, hey, why don't you come over to Twitter and release all your stuff on Twitter? And Taibbi said, no, actually, I will release it on my Substack. And then Musk, I think, shadow blocked Matt Taibbi so that his stuff wasn't working very well on Twitter. It's just very funny. All Musk does is lose ad revenue. That's all he's good at doing. So,
and it's not just the ad revenue, because guess what you can do on YouTube and you cannot do on Twitter, because I refuse to call it X. You cannot watch anything on Twitter unless you have created an account. On YouTube, you don't need an account. You can just watch everything on YouTube. So it would be incredibly stupid to put all your stuff that is doing well on YouTube on a platform where people need to first make an account, get their own profile, and then seeing all kinds of other stuff, and just have to wait to maybe something of you pops up every once in a while. And then, I mean, this is just dumb. Twitter isn't YouTube. Twitter isn't a competitor for YouTube, even though Musk would like it to be, but it's not. So,
are you making a mortar and are you using a mortar and pestle over there or something? What's going on?
Who, me?
You, yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know. It just sounded like something's
stirring my coffee.
Yeah, whatever that is. Oh, okay. What's going on over there? It was picking up.
Sorry. Okay.
The sound from it.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah. So it just, I'm sure by what he means to say is he wants horrible things to happen to LGBT people. So he's I'm sure that's what he means, and he's like, I'm sad that I can't just outright say this. I'm being so censored. Okay. Private companies are not subject to the First Amendment because they can regulate what you can say on their platforms, because that's how they keep ad revenue and advertisers. So where let me find my tiny violin. I'm sure it's around here somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine with him leaving YouTube and going over to where he already is, Rumble, because no one's going to watch him there. No one's watching Rumble.
No, Truth Social is the Trump one, right?
Yeah, but that's more like a Twitter clone. So
and what's funny is the value of it dropped tremendously when Trump left.
Yeah, I mean,
what is he? Okay, wait. He just responded to me. He said, "I would love to, but on one condition: you must first come on to God TV radio stream to chat with me. After you've done that, we'll come on your channel."
You have to go on. You don't know what God TV radio is? That's our sweet manatee, Brett Keane.
Did he repost his own? I think he liked and retweeted his own tweet. Weird.
Yeah. Whatever you do, I wouldn't go on Brett Keane's channel.
Oh, why do you think that?
I mean, apart from the fact that this guy did time for abusing his mother and his wife, This guy is in it just for the money. I mean,
Okay. Well, on the show depends on the time. Depends on the time. What is tomorrow? Oh shoot. Oh, I don't know if I can. Okay, I'll work this out later. I'm not worried about it. Okay.
if he wants to talk to you elsewhere before he comes on your channel, I would say, hey, listen, I invited you. Come on my channel, and then I will come on your channel. Because there's one thing 100% certain. If you talk to this guy on Brad Keen's channel, he's never going to go to your channel. So it's a waste of time.
I mean, I can always just repost my conversation on Brett Keen's channel. I'm sure I can just like re-upload that part to my channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're probably right. It's probably going to be very silly stuff.
Yeah. Smitty.
I mean, I'd be
Smitty just said it.
on.
Brett Keen is the lowest of the low, and I have to agree. I think
I might do it depending on what time it is. If it's because anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll think about it later. Okay, so we went through that video. We turned a 15-minute video into an hour and 40 minutes.
Yes.
So yay. We did it, guys. Go us. So I have no interest in watching anything else from him. As I said previously, he gives off National Social German Workers Party, whatever, vibes. So not great. And obviously he's young with creationist, so he is ignorant on evolution. So it'd be fun. I'm sure I could very easily explain the subject to him, as I have done to many creationists over the years. But we'll see. Yeah, this guy's a little bit odd. He's a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Do we want to cover a few more minutes of the Catholic intelligent design thing?
Yeah,
20 minutes we've got left.
I'm fine with it. We still have 20 minutes left. So and
Cool.
Look what's hiding behind this guy. It's that guy. So.
And I did send a message to Dr. Romulo. I have sent him a message, waiting for his. I hope he responds so that maybe we can get him on.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting to see you have a conversation with him. I would really, really like that to happen. But okay, shall we hit the button for this one?
Let's do it.
Even if you think philosophically speaking, let's just, in terms of definition, if evolution is the change in allele frequency over time, which is just variation of the same gene, right? Therefore, by definition, changes in allele frequency can never be the cause of a gene, right? And it can never be the cause of the machinery that is responsible for, expressing the gene.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
For you to even
pause. Okay, so he's conflating a bunch of stuff right now that are utterly unrelated to each other. So he says that the change in allele frequency cannot be responsible for new genes, since it is the change in genes. I disagree with that. That's like just simply false. If you have a duplication, then you have so if you have a duplication, for instance, of a gene, so you could say, okay, well, now I have two copies of the same gene, but then you have mutations that are causing new alleles to appear within this population. And then those new alleles are going to have, those alleles are going to have a function that is different. So because they have another copy of this gene that now has mutations in it, which are allowing it to do a different thing than what the original one did. And so you have a divergence. I would say that these are, if they eventually have a completely separate function, that they are new genes, right? That's what I would say in that sense. So for instance, so that's one case, right? I would say that's a new gene. So like the antifreeze protein that ice fish have. So that's a bunch of duplicates of a portion of a what's called a trypsinogen gene that was in the pancreas in these ice fish. So this gene breaks down trypsin, or it produces an enzyme that breaks down trypsin, which is what the trypsinogen is. And they took a part of this, the gene for the trypsinogen, they duplicated a whole bunch of times, and now it functions in preventing ice from forming in the bloodstream. I'd say that's a new gene. That's just me. You might disagree. Maybe you'd say, well, no, it's not the same because, one gene descended from the other. Okay, whatever. Another example is what's literally called a de novo gene. So you can have a promoter region, which gets moved. Let's say it gets transposed to another region of the genome that does not do anything. And when that promoter lands in that region, it's now over a number of nucleotides. And it can get, those nucleotides can get transcribed and they can produce a protein. Now, I would say that is a new gene. And that's like literally a new gene. It is a gene, it's a segment of DNA that previously had no function, that now has a promoter attached to the front of it that is now coding for an enzyme, right? I think that's literally a new gene. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. Like, so yeah.
Speak of changing the allele frequency over time, you already have to have in place a whole genome with the whole set of, the cell, the structure of the cell, all the machinery
that was the other
responsible
thing.
for.
Sorry, I forgot. My bad. The other thing he said was that like the origin of life can't account for evolution. Well, yeah, these are two separate things. Biological evolution involves genetic material, which is why we say a change in allele frequency. So change in the frequency of certain segments of DNA, right? So that's what that is a reference to. Obviously, you have to have a genome in place of some sort, whether it's DNA or RNA or some other kind of genetic material that doesn't exist anymore. Either way, you have to have a genome in place, obviously. So to say evolution doesn't account for the origin of life is dumb. Like, obviously, these are different things. The origin of the planet Earth doesn't account for the origin of the solar system or the origin of the universe. Like, obviously, but it's not meant to encompass that. So I don't see what the issue is. Just very dumb. Very dumb response.
Reading and expressing those genes. So even in principle, with that definition, you cannot explain this kind of things, right?
Yeah. I had a student, I used to be a high school teacher. And then one of the things I got in most trouble for was...
Where have we heard that before? I don't...
Right? I taught high school science for 15 years.
Yeah.
I was teaching religion in a Catholic school, and I was teaching about, creation, and I was just showing that, maybe there's another side to the story.
Except there isn't.
And I had one student who was very smart. She was one of those kids who just speeded, she sped.
He taught religion, the famous science of religion.
Mm-hmm.
He taught religion,
so
and then he started talking about creation and saying, well, maybe there's another answer. If there was, would the scientists have figured that out yet? I mean, is that what they do?
Yeah, you would think, but I do think it's funny that he's over here being like, I taught in a school. I taught religion in a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm pretty sure.
So your opinion on this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't teach religion. He taught Catholicism.
I mean, his opinion on matters of science matters not at all.
No.
Okay. Cool. Okay, great.
High school and graduated early and was, went off some super smart degree somewhere.
Cool.
And she thought she had me. She said, well, Mr. Hall, anything is possible with enough time. If you put laundry in a laundry machine and it spins for enough cycles, the mathematics shows us that at some point it's going to come out folded. And I said, okay, well, who made the laundry machine and who made it spin in one direction and who turned it on? And she kind of laughed and she went, oh, yeah. And I said, so even in this world where you're going to postulate that something can happen.
No one's saying evolution implies atheism.
It's not the same thing as creating a new species. But even if you can postulate something like that, you're going to have to come back to this position where there's already an order set in place, which is fixed. And if it's not fixed, you can't even have the thing that you're calling evolution, but you can't evolve yourself to that fixed thing in the first place. There's always this contradiction in the.
Yeah, you have
That's
to have.
That's not a contradiction.
You have to have all of that in place, and it has to be fixed, except when you blame a God for doing everything like this, because we can't ask where did God come from? What did God do before he created everything? Because if he's eternal, then it took him an eternity to create anything. So what did he do in the meantime? But you can't ask those questions because they're going to be
brushed for eternity, Peter.
Yeah, I mean,
watch football.
This is, I mean, if you have a set of rules, at least stick to that in your own position as well. So then we can ask those questions.
My issue here is this guy, whoever the discount Duck Dynasty, he doesn't know what he believes. I don't think. At least I'm confused by what he thinks right now. I'm confused by having watched this video. Because on the one hand, you have Romulo here, who's like, oh, I don't know about macroevolution, but I believe in microevolution, except for when I correctly define macroevolution as like including the origin of new species. So we accept that, but just not other types of macroevolution. Like, wait, what is even the position here? So like you're fine with new species, but like what? Because like we haven't talked about the origin of life at all, because that was his immediate thing. He was like, well, what about the origin of life? Well, we weren't talking about that. We were talking about evolution. If you want to say God created the life and then just let it go, fine, whatever, okay. But like, I don't know what we've been talking about. They keep kind of like they're waffling. They're waffling on what they think, on what both of them think, not just Discount Duck Dynasty, but also Dr. Romulo. They're both waffling, and it's frustrating because I don't know what they think. I don't know if their position is that like all life shares a common ancestor, or if humans are descended from primates. I don't know if he thinks birds are descended from dinosaurs. Like, I don't know what his position is. They keep kind of going around the thing without really talking about it. So it's very silly.
One more thing I wanted to respond to Nan. He said, did you hear, or they said, did you hear that Google evolved a program that started to self-replicate? I have one of those on my previous computer, which is called a virus. And this one was this one was tough because I haven't found anything that can get rid of it, because this is a thing that it evolves to infect executables, and it jumps from one executable to another. So a file that is infected today maybe it's not longer infected tomorrow. It's a headache. All you can do is just format everything and make sure.
Wikipedia works again.
Oh, see?
That was just so weird. I don't know why.
It evolved into a working website again.
True. Weird. Okay. All right. Anyway, we keep going.
Yeah, McAfee didn't do it. I mean, there's one thing that says that it kills every virus, and even that didn't get it. It got rid of a lot of stuff, but not everything. Sadly. Okay, let's continue.
What you find?
Yes, even the fact that we are able to say that a mutation is an error already presupposes a certain sort of teleology, right? There is something aiming towards a certain end, in this case, correctly replicating the DNA, and because it fails to do so, we're able to say, wow, there is a mutation there. So this problem of teleology and goal directness, and it's so prevalent that recently, I think 2021, the Linnean Society, you can look this up, I watched it, I was watching it live. The Linnean Society, which is one of the most important scientific societies in the UK, together with the Royal Society, they had a whole conference on teleology. They call it teleonomy. And you're discussing exactly the idea of
because those are not the same thing. Wait a second, hold on, pause. Okay, teleology and teleonomy are not the same thing. These are like fundamentally different. Now they sound very similar, and they have the same root, but they are fundamentally different. So teleology is the idea that something is pre-programmed in a sense to do a certain thing, to like go to a certain end. Right? So you start here and you are pre-programmed to go to this particular arc to go to the end. Teleonomy is the idea that a thing is trying to think of a good way to put it. Like is molded for an end, but without foresight. So, for instance, to say that like the hand was made by God to be able to grab things, that's teleology. God made the hand to be able to grab things. Teleonomy is like natural selection selected hands to be progressively better at grabbing things. Now, there's no foresight in that. Now, the hand was, over time, gradually adapted for this particular purpose, but there is no foresight in that process. So one has foresight. God makes the hand specifically for this thing. The other doesn't have foresight. Teleonomy does not have foresight. It is sort of similar in that both things are like changed for a particular goal, but adaptations don't have a goal. Natural selection has no goal. It happens that there are a set of environmental circumstances in which having a hand that is able to grasp things is selectively beneficial, so you are more likely to survive on average than your fellow man who doesn't have a hand that's particularly good at grabbing. So if they're talking about teleonomy, they are not talking about teleology. Those are different things. Yeah, they were talking about astrology. They were calling it astronomy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely. Okay. Anyway.
About biology without making reference to teleology, right? You cannot describe what a heart
they were
is
talking about
without
astronomy
making reference
without
to
what
it is,
astrology.
what is the function, and without making reference to the whole, right? It is an organ that pumps blood, let's just say. You can try to go at the molecular level or a tissue level, try to explain what a heart is. You're never going to be able to. You need to make reference to the end. And so you have this mainstream scientists, discussing goal directness in biology, but of course they're trying to naturalize it. So I recommend your viewers to look it up. It's online in YouTube. You can find a Linnean Society, Teleonomy Agency and Evolution, something like that. So there is quite of an interesting change that is happening. Aristotle is being resurrected. I spoke to many philosophers or biologists, many of them atheists, and they're just realizing that there's something fundamentally wrong about this materialistic, reductionistic view, like Richard Dawkins' view that everything's about genes. And they're trying to bring back Aristotle. Of course, in a they would say that the essence can change over time, but at least they're trying to change the metaphysics of the whole thing. So it's quite remarkable. But another problem that can be discussed that is, this is mainstream. As I said, I'm not a young Earth creationist. I'm just a regular mainstream evolutionary biologist. But I like to point out the problems because that's how science moves forward. But so if you can share, like another thing that happens, actually, let me just, this one is more interesting than homology. So the thing with the fossil record, right? Because I speak to people and I don't know where they got this idea that the fossil record in general supports a slow, gradual process of evolution, right?
Because
and if you read The Origin of Species, which most people don't, Darwin has a whole chapter to explain the fossil record away.
Yeah.
Because he admits that the fossil record.
That's not what happens, actually. So what he's talking about is chapter 6, which I think is difficulties on the theory. Is that chapter 6? I think it is. Anyway, Darwin does say that there are issues with the fossil record, mostly because like almost no one was a paleontologist at the time. This was the mid 1800s. Very few people were doing research in paleontology. Actually, we're just going to cut it here for today. If you want to go back to our other screen, we'll do the fossil record thing next time. I just want to point out this one lie, which is that the idea that Darwin was just saying, don't worry about the fossil record. Like it's it's bad, you know, it doesn't support evolution. Darwin didn't say that. And actually, in later editions of Origin of Species, Darwin had more and more transitional fossils that he incorporated into it, like Archaeopteryx and Halotherium, which is a Saurian, so remember the manatees, but it still had hind legs. And he talks about a Stegodon, which is a prehistoric elephant that is intermediate in its characteristics between like mastodons and more modern elephants. Like, it's just a lie to say that like Darwin thought the fossil record didn't support him. He did. There's a really good book by Adrian Lister. It's titled Darwin's Fossils, and it goes over all the different fossils that Darwin found while he was circumnavigating the globe, and fossils he talked about in later editions of Origin of Species. This is just like, I'm almost certain he's going to give us like a reprisal of like Darwin's doubt or something like that. Almost certainly. That's my bet for the next time. So, okay. So anyway,
sorry, I had
fun times today.
Yeah, Smitty, thank you for that. A manatee with hind legs, Brett Keane. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was funny.
Wait. So the long story short is this Catholic is a bit rusty on philosophy. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I mean,
no, teleonomy is the known function. Teleology is not the known function. That would be like teleonomy is like evolved purposiveness, but not like preordained purpose. That's the difference between them, because teleonomy has no foresight. Teleology does have foresight. That's the difference. So okay. Anyway, all right. So this was fun. Maybe I'll be arguing with this creationist. We'll see. It depends. I think my schedule's busy tomorrow, but we'll see.
Can I make a prediction, or dare I say prophecy? He's not going to come on your channel.
You think so?
Yes, the only reason to invite you to a different channel is because he wants to avoid coming on your channel. Because he needs someone to do the heavy lifting for him and mute you or ban you whenever you start making sense.
Maybe. Stuart Newman. Is this the person who thinks that like the genome is 100% functional? I wonder if that's that person. I don't know. Yeah, so there's this paper. I'm curious. I'm actually going to look over this paper, the one on agency in biology, because I'm quite curious about this. It's public. The Biological Journal of the Linnaean Society is a reputable journal, so I'm curious what he mean. I'm curious what is meant by this. So, okay. So, thank you, Peter, for hosting and co-hosting as always. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Most welcome.
And thank you, everybody in the live chat, for watching. I had a good time as always. I hope you guys did too. So, alrighty. Well, thank you, everybody, and we will see all of you next time. So,
see ya.
Bye.